Buried Bloodlines is a fantastic exotic sidearm in Destiny 2. It's great for DPS as well as clearing out smaller enemies. And once you get this sidearm, it is very hard to take it off given it's so deadly. Well, today I'm going to check out the Buried Bloodlines in more detail, the stats, the exotic perks, plus also how to get the Buried Bloodline and the Catalyst in Destiny 2. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below for even more Destiny 2 content. So first of all, the easy bit, how to get the Buried Bloodline exotic. So to get this one, you just need to beat the final boss of the Warlord's Ruin dungeon, and the Buried Bloodline can drop for you as a reward. It is a random drop, so do be aware of that. It probably took me around, I don't know, somewhere between 7 to 10 runs to get this weapon, so hopefully it will drop for you nice and quickly. To get access to Warlord's Ruin, you do need the dungeon key. It's well worth getting it as this is one of the best dungeons Bungie has produced for Destiny 2. You can also complete specific triumphs on the Warlord's Ruin seal to increase your chances of getting this weapon to drop for you. Okay, let's have a closer look at the Buried Bloodline. It is an exotic energy sidearm, comes with the exotic perks Hungering Quarrel, so double fire tracking bolts, landed bolts, leeches health from the target, and you've got Violent Reanimation, so multiple final blows of the weapon grants Devour to the wielder. Okay, now you've got the weapon, let's work towards the Catalyst, and first of all we're going to have to finish off the quest in the Shadow of the Mountain. So what we're going to have to do here is go through the Warlord's Ruin dungeon at least 3 times. Unless you go with Guardians, you've got access to Tier 1, Tier 2 and Tier 3 rooms. So to complete this quest, you're going to need to find secret rooms in the dungeon and collect the Heifen Bones, and also collect Dark Ether Tinctures and also Blighted Wishing Glass. So Dark Ether Tinctures can be found by shooting the Shining Screebs out of the dungeon. Now if you find one, you can farm them by wiping and going back to get more. And then if you want to go for the Blighted Wishing Glass, all you have to do is complete encounters. The trickiest part of the quest, and probably the most time-consuming part of the quest, is the Heifen Bones. So the bones are split into 3 groups. You've got Tier 1, Tier 2 and Tier 3. Tier 1 rooms, they are available on your first run. Tier 2 on your second and Tier 3 on your third. However, if you go in with the Guardian, who's already got access to Tier 3, and you can quite easily find these Guardians via LFG, it is possible to get all the bones in a single run. Okay, let's have a look at the Heifen Bones location. First of all, Tier 1. So first bone, you want to go across the bridge inside the fort, and you want to get that before the night gets you. Then we've got the second bone, so across from the imprisonment after ascending through the ceiling. Then you got the third bone, so this one is right at the top of the summit. You want to face back from the cliff and find shelter. Next up we've got Tier 2, so you've got the 4th bone. So in the snow-fallen maze, through the broken wall, you want to find the Banner of Kings. Then we've got the 5th bone, so cross into the Tempest, through the portcullis at the sewer's mouth. Then we got the 6th bone, so at the summit's base, find shelter off the beaten path there, and you go too far and the Taken will descend upon you. Next up, we've got the 7th bone. So within the maze, you want to go over the pitfall, and light comes through the window there, and you can find the bone. Then we've got the 8th bone, so the Taken Royal at the cave's bottom sends you to scurry over boulders into a ruined alcove. And then you got the 9th bone, so within a tunnel on the broken cliffs, you want to brave the Taken storm. So pick up all the bones and the items, and you want to interact with the Tolan orb to reveal the portal just before the final boss. Then you want to deliver the bones to the skeleton. Then finally speak to Ahamkara, and it's on to the next step of the quest. So once you finish the In the Shadow of the Mountain quest, it's time to get the catalyst. So we're going to have to go back into the Warlord's Ruin dungeon. Well, the Buried Bloodline catalyst is very, very good indeed, because it adds something called Split Vein Lineage, and that means the weapon weakens enemies when Devour is active, and that makes an already great exotic even better. So the secret catalyst objective for Buried Bloodline has players complete 3 puzzles, each of which involve the Taken totem mechanic, introduced at the very start of the dungeon, where players must stand inside the totem circle. The puzzles show up throughout the dungeon, and after completing the 3rd puzzle, players must complete a secret boss fight. Okay, first of all, let's have a look at the Buried Bloodline Catalyst puzzle number 1. So after defeating the first boss, the very first puzzle for the Catalyst is right outside of the prison cells that players get thrown into. So when looking at the gate, that acts as a dead end for the room. Players are going to notice 4 unlit torches. There's a small Taken blight behind the gate that can only be shot by the Buried Bloodline. So breaking the blight will light 3 out of 4 torches in the room, and also spawn 4 Taken totems in different cells around the players. So the placement of these torches coincides with the placement of the Taken totems in the prison. For example, each torch represents a prison cell with a Taken totem. So players are going to need to extinguish the correct Taken totems within 30 seconds to complete the puzzle, and failing, that is simply going to reset the puzzle, and it's going to display the text saying an unspoken wish persists on the kill feed. So players can attempt the puzzle as many times as you want until you extinguish the correct totems, but upon solving it, the following text is going to appear: an unspoken wish is silenced, Buried Bloodline clicks audibly. That indicates the puzzle is complete, and you can move on to the next part of the dungeon. Okay, next up we've got the Catalyst puzzle number 2. So the second puzzle for the Catalyst lies within the ruins after the prison maze, but before the second boss encounter. So there's a few groups of enemies on the bridge, so make sure to defeat them before you go any further. And then when you're on the bridge and you want to look backwards towards the ruins of the castle, you're going to find that Taken blight floating in the air. So once again, the blight can only be broken by the Buried Bloodline. So breaking the blight, that's going to activate 3 random torches in the snowy platforming section that's just leading up to the bridge after exiting the maze. So you'll make your way back down towards the maze, but stop when you see the torches and the Taken totems. So the Taken totems, they'll be on the snowy rocks near the torches in a way where each totem is close to a specific torch. So players will need to extinguish the Taken totems closest to each torch to solve the puzzle. So this one is much easier than the first puzzle. You've got 30 seconds to complete it, and also you can try it again if you get it wrong, so there's no rush. Once again, extinguishing the correct totems will display the text "an unspoken wish is silenced," and Buried Bloodline clicks audibly. That indicates the puzzle is complete and players can move on to the next encounter. Okay, finally, we've got puzzle number 3. So the final puzzle for Buried Bloodline Catalyst shows up in the platforming section, where you've got the large, floating Taken Blight between the snowy mountains. And that is after the room with the huge Taken Blight, the platforming section right before the final castle in the dungeon. So, upon climbing out the platform, we first see the floating Taken Blight, so you want to look towards the bottom left. So there's an opening there in the pillar-like mountain. It's got the final Taken Blight for the Catalyst puzzle. Shoot it with Buried Bloodline. That's going to light up 3 out of 4 torches on the right-hand side area by the arched doorway and reveal 4 Taken Totems around the platforming section. So the Taken Totems correlate to the position of the torches once again, and the order of the torches goes from left to right, so players will need to extinguish the Taken Totems to match the positioning of the lit torches. So these torches, they're spread out in the platforming section here, with the leftmost totem that corresponds to the leftmost torch. That is near the end of the platforming section in the snowy mountain, right before the final boss, so it's quite high up. The second leftmost totem, that corresponds to the second torch on the left. That's visible on the rocks that players would jump on before getting the leftmost totem. The third totem is on a floating rock next to the blight, and that one corresponds with the rightmost torch. So it definitely sounds a lot more complicated than it is. Just basically shoot the blight, check out the position of the torches, then you can find them. If you get it wrong, don't worry, you can do it multiple times, but when you get it right, the text will read, an unspoken wish is silenced, Buried Bloodline clicks audibly, like it did with all the other puzzles, and then you've done it, you completed all the puzzles, then you can continue platforming to the final section before you get the secret boss. Okay, next up we've got the secret boss fight, and this one is really fun. So after completing all 3 puzzles, you can head to the floating Toland orb at the bottom of the stairs that leads up to the final boss encounter. So instead of progressing to the final encounter, you want to interact with Toland, and that opens up the Cairn Chamber Gateway portal. And that portal would have been opened up before for those who finished in the Shadow of the Mountain prior to doing the Catalyst puzzles. Going into the portal this time though, however, spawns a secret boss. This is Primeval Thresia, Font of Blight, and that is a Taken Wizard. So to defeat the boss, you want to break the shield by extinguishing the correct Taken Totems across the room. So look at the torches in the centre of the room when they spawn, and they correspond to 6 totems throughout the room, and you just want to make sure that you're standing on the right ones. So 3 torches are going to light up, stand on the correct platforms, and then once they're extinguished, you're going to be able to damage the boss. Repeat that a few times, and congratulations, the catalyst for Buried Bloodline will drop for you. So once you've got that catalyst, you're going to need to level it up by killing enemies. I would recommend the Shurochi location in the Last Wish raid. That is always the best place to get catalyst done. But then once you've done that, you can slot it onto Buried Bloodline, and this makes Buried Bloodline even better. And this is really, really good for Void and also Prismatic builds as well. So go out there and enjoy that Sidearm. Well, let me know in the comments what you think about this one, but that is it for this guide for how to get the Buried Bloodline and also the Catalyst in Destiny 2. And as always, thank you so much for watching or for listening. Don't forget you can hit that subscribe button down below for even more Destiny 2 content here on Endgame Express. You can also like the video and share the video too. That would help me out here on the channel. Well, thanks again, and I'll see you soon. Well, thank you for watching that video, and today I'd like to talk about Endgame Express Backstage, the home of exclusive content for fans of Endgame Express. To join, simply join up through Patreon or the YouTube membership. You get early access and exclusive content, shout-outs in the videos, access to live streams, plus also access to our exclusive Endgame Express Backstage community Discord. Well, here's some more information about the tiers. So in Tier 1, that is $2.99 a month, you get access to our community Discord and also early access to content. In Tier 2, that is $4.99, and you get shoutouts in the credits of videos, and also you get access to community polls and help shape the content. For Tier 3, that is $8.99, and you'll get access to exclusive community videos, and also get access to exclusive live streams as well. Well, the core content on Endgame Express is always going to be free, but if you want to go above and beyond and support Endgame Express, then all you need to do is get access to Endgame Express Backstage today through Patreon or YouTube membership. You know, Endgame Express is a one-man band right now, but I would love to expand into more games, podcasts, more channels, but to do that, I'm going to need your help to make this sustainable, and in return I offer you some exclusive benefits and backstage only content. Well, if you enjoy Endgame Express, then consider Endgame Express Backstage today. You can hit that membership button right down below, or you can find us on the Patreon links, and you'll find those links in the description. Well, thank you for listening, and thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you very soon.